holy name. Amen.
Good morning, LifeBridge. My name is Chris. On behalf of our staff and team, welcome. We are so excited that you're here today. But from me personally, I am like almost giddy that you're here. It's like Christmas morning to me without somebody tangibly giving me a gift. But nonetheless, today is an exciting day. We launched a new series called Try. And I want to be completely honest with you. I believe that this series has the potential to change your life forever. I'm like, is that like Christianese? Like, is that like church talk, right? Like, and I just want you to like hang with me for a moment. Like, I really believe that this series, not my teaching, not like you coming to church this Sunday. I believe that this series, if it goes with you, has the potential to change your life. We're calling it Try. Just hang like with me. 3 letters, 1 word, endless possibilities. If you were to define Try, Google tells you this: to make an attempt or an effort to do something. This series showed up at the most random time in my life. A little over 6 months ago, I woke up around 2 o'clock in the morning, which, just so you know, is not good. If you wake up 2 o'clock, things are not. If you work at 2 o'clock in the morning, I'll pray for you. My body does not work up, like it doesn't work that way. Like I would say between like 11 p.m. and 4 a.m., those times really don't exist in my world. I don't really often see them. And when I do see those times, it's not good. And so this random night, I woke up around 2 o'clock, and I woke up with a song in my head that was blaring. There wasn't like no music playing in my house. There was no AirPods in my ear. I just heard a song that was so loud that I had to get up. And that was annoying within itself. I get up and I go into my living room and I open my computer, go to YouTube, and I play the song. The song is called Try, and it's from Pink. You can laugh. Yeah, your pastor woke up in the middle of the night singing a Pink song, all right? And this morning, I'm tempted to sing it for you, but I am definitely not pink. If you were to like color code me, it'd be more like brown. Like dark, I think about the opposite of her singing it. It would be, I'd be TikTok famous, but it would be horrible. She sings this song, and as I listened to this song, it began to do something in me. And it was definitely God, because again, my brain does not function well at these hours. As I listened to this song, I began wrestling with my own personal faith. Like, hey, following Jesus, like how often do I try? Like, let's just be honest. Like, this is my space, not yours. Like, I'm at 2 o'clock in the morning, Chris, kind of starting to write some things down. Like, Chris, how often do you try your faith? A lot of your faith has become pretty autopilot, pretty normal. You read God's word. You pray. You write a lot. I have writings everywhere. I have journals everywhere. I have notes on my iPad, notes on my computer, notes on my phone. Like, I just write. So you do these things naturally. How often are you actually trying, Chris, at your faith? Like something different, something new. And I was just starting to write. And as I wrote, I Googled and searched. Like, this word is really hitting me. If you know our values, if you've seen one of them, we value practice versus perfection. Perfection is not obtainable. Perfection always makes you feel like a failure because you seek to do something you can't, and then you're like, well, I can't do that, I give up. It's like, no, if you practice, you get better, right? And so this word try is really hanging deep in this value. I'm making notes. I'm starting to look at this word differently than I've ever looked at it. 1 word, 3 letters, endless possibilities. And as I Google, I start coming across these quotes. Quotes from a guy named John Barrow. It says, if you never try, you'll never know what you're capable of. I was like, man, that's actually really deep. Like, I felt almost like philosophical. I'm sitting here, and it could be that I'm exhausted because it's 2:30 now. As I see this quote, it's like sitting with me. This guy is not a kid. He's not talking to your 6-year-old self where you're learning to ride a bike. Or maybe your 7 or 8-year-old self where you're learning to swim or get up the courage to jump off the diving board for the first time, Like, he's not talking to the stage of life where you're always trying new things. Like from 0 to like 12, you're always doing new things. Always try something. You're trying to read. You're trying to write. You're trying to study. You're trying math. You're trying all these things. You're trying maybe a sleepover. You're trying distance from your parents. You're trying an overnight trip. Like 0 to 12, you try a whole bunch. But starting around the age of 13, you really stop trying. You start settling in. Like literally, the brain begins to lock in things. This is like who I am. This is what I believe. This is what I'll become. Like those things start to settle. And some people are sooner than others. Some boys, that doesn't happen until you're 25. Like girls is much faster. It's okay. No worries. No judgment here. I'm one of those guys. It was like 30 when like life actually felt like, oh, this is what it's like. But nonetheless, when I read this quote, it just hit. If you never try, you'll never know what you're capable of. And it hit me in a moment where I'm like, where am I trying? Interesting question. So I keep reading. John Quincy said this: try and fail, but never fail to try. That's socialable. You can text it, tweet it. I don't think you tweet anymore, whatever you call it. Maybe you tweet it, I don't know. You can put it in your social media. You can ever, like this is something you should project this. Try and fail, but never fail to try. In my mind, as I'm reading this, I'm like, wait a second. Don't fail to try, Chris. Like this is, again, deeply personal. Like I would say philosophical in the sense of like it's a very like inward focused time. And then I found this quote, Thomas Edison. Our greatest weakness lies within giving up. The most certain way to succeed is always to try just one more time. When I read that quote, something like switched in me. When I read our greatest weakness lies within giving up, the most certain way to succeed is always to try just one more time, something hit me. It was like unshakable. The world around me that was quiet stopped, and I became hyper-focused on this question. Is there anything in your life, Chris, that you've always wanted to try but haven't? This morning, I'm going to turn the question from myself and I'm going to ask you, is there anything in your life that you've always wanted to try but you haven't? For many of you, you could probably quickly oh man, yeah. Some of you might come a little slower. You might need some time to process, but nonetheless, I just want to ask you the question again. Is there anything in your life that you've always wanted to try but you haven't? Like the heart of this series is based on this question, because this question was something I began to wrestle with deep within my soul. It really within the concrete foundation of my faith, because so much of my life has been already built. You believe, you do, you live, you love, done, rinse, repeat. And I was like, but where do I try something I haven't tried before? So my creative juices, which are not many, started flowing. And I began to pin down all the thoughts I was having. I asked myself the question, Chris, is there anything you want to try that you always wanted to try but you haven't? And I began to make a long list. Now, hear me out. As I walk you through what I've gone through, my hope and prayer is that you will join me. That what we're about to talk about for the next 6 weeks will become a movement. Not a movement that's like LifeBridge Church. A movement of people like you and me who decide to do something, to try something we've always wanted to try but never have. And I believe as we try things that we've always wanted to try, that we've never had time to, maybe we're afraid to, maybe stage of life kept us from. When we try, I believe this movement will allow Jesus space to work in our life in ways we didn't dream possible. And so I made this list. My list started with roller skating backwards. I grew up the 80s kid. And what we did for spirit days at school was like go to the skating rink. And then because I loved skating, that's what I did for birthday parties or friends parties. Like we went to the skating rink. I don't know about you, I learned all the bad music of my life from the skating rink. It's awesome. In fact, every once in a while, I start singing songs that I'm like, where did you get this song? Oh, I got it at Sparkles, skating rink. I got that. But I loved skating. In fact, I was one of the kids who could we could skate and synchronize the foot crosses and the skate. I was just really good at going in circles. But I never could. And I don't know why, but I never could master turning around. A part of it was afraid of falling, pride. Imagine turning around and all of your friends watching you eat it, And the most dangerous way, if you fall forward, you catch yourself. You fall backwards, your head just bounces off the floor, right? I didn't want to do that. I was afraid. And so I would try occasionally in my garage to go backwards because I had my own skates. I had speed skates for all that matter, I had all the tools to adjust the chuck and to make your wheels go faster or slower. I don't know what I'm talking about now, but then I did, and I could skate, but I was so afraid to skate backwards. Every once in a while, I get the courage to just do it in my garage. Couldn't figure it out, and I eventually just gave it up. My brother, who can do whatever he wants to do when he wants to do it, no bitter. I'm not bitter. But he could skate backwards his whole life, it was I don't know, he had electric skates or something. I couldn't. So that wasn't the first thing on my list, skate backwards. And I quickly was like, but then you need to go to a roller skating rink and you can't do that. And so then the next one I wrote down was play tennis. I don't know why I didn't play tennis growing up. I love tennis. I don't play it, I watch it. And I watch it as if I played it because I know exactly what you should and shouldn't do. I know how the score works. I know the judges and line judges. I argue with line judges. I love the game of tennis. I watch it whenever there's something on. Whenever there's a national televised tennis match or a big tournament, I'm there. On my bucket list, I want to go to Wimbledon. I had this dream one day of sitting there and seeing this happen in front of me. It hasn't happened yet. If you can make it happen, that's great. Awesome. Thank you. I wrote on my list, play tennis. And these were just coming out of me. I've always dreamed one day of trying to learn how to ride a unicycle. Can you ride a unicycle? I'm man, this just looks like fun. And unicycle kind of, it really did, it started to morph in my brain to more of the one wheel Segway, or the skateboards, one wheeler, what don't you call it? But I was maybe I could do that. And I looked at the prices of those and they're astronomical. I'm all these things that are coming to my head, things I wanted to try, but I haven't. And everything I said, there was a reason why I haven't. I can't afford that. I never had time for that. I'm scared of dying. I don't want to roller skate backwards, And so my list is just, guys, it's so funny. In the moment, my memory is so in tune with my life. I always wanted to jump off a high dive. Not a springboard. I want the platform from the Red Bull competitions. Where you're standing 1,000 feet off the surface of the earth. It's not that high. It just looks that high. When the pool begins to look like a quarter. Whoa, that's way down there. There's just always been something in my life. I love heights. So what would it be like to stand up there and choose to take the step off, plunging your life to water? No bungee cord, no parachute, just you, air, and water. I've just always wanted to and never have. Wasn't a member of certain pools or, to do that. Sometimes you got to have permission to do that. All rules, never done it, haven't done it. So I'm okay, keep riding. I've always wanted to get a full sleeve tattoo. I have one. And this is not a discussion right now of is it right or wrong. I have one. We're not in church for that. But nonetheless, it's when you get one, it's this never-ending desire to have more, okay? And so Like, oh man, how cool would it be? And I'm a pastor, so I'm like, I would want it to be something that communicates my love for Jesus while also maybe having some sort of entertaining, like hey, they want to ask questions about it. You know, and they're like, oh, what is that about? And I'm like, oh, let me share the gospel with you. Like that, like always this purpose behind it. But then if you ever check into prices or hours, it was like, whoa, that's like thousands of dollars. I could buy a car or have a lot of ink on my arm. And my wife's like, buy a car for our family. No brainer. Like, let's eat this week, Chris. You know, like, so I haven't done that. Reasons of why I haven't tried these things. And then my brain pulled out the last one. And the last one stuck. As I'm exploring this idea of try, I wrote down the words, a handstand. And I'll be honest with you, I think I chose a handstand in this like moment of I've got to try something I've never tried before. I chose it because I honestly thought it'd be the easiest thing I could do. And I love low-hanging fruit. I love the feeling of, hey, you know what? We did something, we set out to do something, and we accomplished it. It was not easy. It was like, well, wasn't that bad? Like, we could do that again. And so in my mind, I'm like, this could be something. And just to remind you, I'm not like a 20-year-old anymore. Like, I'm over that 40 number, and like my body doesn't, like, it just doesn't work like it used to. It doesn't function the way it used to. TMI, we'll keep going. And I'm like, I'll just do a handstand, and this will be really cool. It'll be a good challenge for me as I explore this idea of try. I had no earthly idea it would be so hard. That night, probably around 3:30-ish now, I'm like, you know what, let's just see what you can do, Chris. Like, you know, there's a wall here, and you just, you know, just do a handstand, right? You know, quickly. And I can do like the whole like headstand where you put your head on the ground and you like put your knees on your elbows, you know, and you slowly go up and you're balancing on your head and neck. Like that's a headstand, not a handstand. And so I'm like, I'm doing a handstand. So I put my hands down, I flip up, and I about knock out a wall in my house. It does not go well for me. My butt and ankles or heels hit the wall so hard, I'm like, you're waiting the whole house up, you know, like, but it wasn't really hitting the wall that hurt so bad. It was the fact that my elbows gave out and my head and face plummeted to the earth. Even though it was only like, I don't know, 8-9 inches, it was like bang. And then like, everything in me just crumbled as my body gave way. You know, like my ankles, knees, thighs, hips, everything just crumbled onto the floor. And I'm like, oh, like reality check, you aren't what you think you are. And so this began the journey. Now I'm mad. Like I'm a little upset that I've set out to try something. I feel encouraged to try something that I've never done before. I felt this desire to do something, like to push myself in a way I haven't pushed myself. And like, I'm going to try this. And like, what do I do? Like, how do I figure this out? So the logical thing was I began talking about it with a very close like group of people. Because in the process of this, I'm like, this is a series. We're going to do this. Like 6 months ago, I'm like, we're doing this. I wanted to do it 6 months ago, but the team was like, oh, slow down. You know, like, let's think about this. And so I began talking. Took so Whitney is my assistant, her husband, Tanner. We were out at dinner with them. Jamie and I were hanging out with them. And I began telling Tanner, hey, like, I had this desire to learn to do something. Like, I want to try something I've never done before. And Tanner's like, oh, dude, to do a handstand, you have to have like mass amounts of upper body and core strength, which is great because I had 0 at the time. I was like, awesome. He's like, yeah, you need to start doing some things that give your body the ability to maintain the posture for a handstand. I'm like, this is becoming science. Like, come on. What do you mean the posture of a handstand? I just got to balance on my hands, right? He's like, yeah, but think about it. Your legs and your feet are built to withstand your body weight. I'm like, are you calling me fat? I'm like, yes, he was. But nonetheless, I mean, he's like, no, really, your body is built structurally to hold yourself upright. You're not necessarily, always just naturally built that. You've got to do something. And so he challenges me. He's like, hey, start doing push-ups. He said, the goal is your age. I'm like, well, great. I'm only 12 years old, so I can do 12. Began the process. He's like, really, do your age. And so I went home. I'm like, okay, let's just do 10, right? I got to like 4. And I was like, this is not right. Like, I'm like becoming keenly aware that I'm going to try something, but I don't have what it takes to do it. And so begins my journey Day like 3, I'm now doing push-ups daily. Just do 5 and then do 5 later. And just get to 10, get to 15, get to 20. I'm really excited to say I'm up to my age and plus. Now this 3 month, no, you don't have to clap because I got a whole bunch of worse mistakes about to come your way. So like I've got this whole thing ahead of me. All right, I'm going to start building some upper body strength. This is the best way I'm going to do it. I'm going to start doing push-ups. The goal is do your age and push-ups, okay? So got that going. He's like, yeah, but you need core strength too. So you're going to start doing sit-ups and like scissors and leg lifts and, like, okay, this is awesome. So like I'm getting this encouragement of things I need to do. And what's crazy is I'm starting to see the results. I can do more push-ups. I included a jump rope to get some cardio in. So I'm seeing my body. I feel my stamina change. Like I'm getting better. Handstand is still almost impossible, but I'm getting there, right? I'm growing. But there needs to be some more things. And so this handstand, which I thought was gonna be simple and easy, like stand against the wall and do it, has now begun to change my life. I'm now changing my routine where I'm doing handstands with my kids around and they're videoing me, like they're catching my legs, like I'm doing my handstand up without a wall so I don't break anything, but they're catching me, and helping me so that I gracefully fall on my face, not like smush. I'm sitting in my room or sitting in the living room and I'm stretching because I'm learning that like some of these things I'm trying to do, like my body feels tight. And as I'm doing it, my kids are sitting with me and they're like, no, Dad, you should do this stretch. We learned this stretch at strength and conditioning at school. You do this. And I'm like, I can't do that. Like those parts don't bend that way. Like I can't touch my toes. Well, you got to do this, Dad. You got to bend your knee and put it against the chair and then sit up. And I'm like, guys, I'm going to rip every muscle out of my leg, like, and then you got to put your hand, lock your hands. And you got to lift them over your head. Like all these things. But I'm sitting with my kids. And we're talking about stretching, and I say we're laughing. They're laughing at me, but we're together. And Tanner's like, hey, listen. Eventually, you need to add some cardio. Like you need your body and your heart rate to be able to withstand some high heart rate. So I start walking. He's like, yeah, 41 minutes. 41's my age. 41 minutes of walking. You need it every day. I'm like 41 minutes every day. What do you mean? Like I don't have that kind of time. But I'm like dead set. I'm going to do this thing. So I start walking. What's crazy is my kids start joining me. They like get on their bicycles, all 4 of them sometimes. And as I'm walking, they're with me, riding circles around me, going up and coming back, going up and coming back, going past me, going further ahead of me and coming back around. Like, we're just together. And sometimes it's one-on-one, sometimes it's 1-on-4, sometimes 1-on-2, 1-on-3, but we're spending time together. And as we're walking and they're riding, I'm talking to them about their world, their life. I'm starting to hear about school and math and boys and girls and relationships. We're having conversations about following Jesus and how do we follow Jesus around peers who don't. How do we do this thing? We're talking about homework and grades, and we're trying to do better. Like all these conversations happen in this 41-minute walk. And now that I'm a few months into it and I get to look back, I can see that my whole world has changed. And it's changed for the better, all because I decided to try something I had never tried before. I'm having conversations with my kids that I've never had. I'm talking about things that we didn't have space to talk about. I'm developing some healthier habits that's making me stronger. Like when I get out of bed in the morning, I don't feel like I'm like aching all over. It's like, wow, this is pretty cool. One of the things that's been pretty crazy is that my perspective has shifted a little bit. In my walking, my kids aren't always able to go with me because of school hours, so sometimes I go in the morning, and I find myself being intentionally focused on praying. I start praying with my family, my kids, my wife, our marriage. I pray for the church, what's happening here, and if it was in our church. But about 2 weeks ago, I was walking, and I'm praying, like walking, praying. And I overhear this conversation happening at a house, and it's pretty heated. And it's early in the morning, a gentleman's leaving, and I don't know these people at all. But the exchange is pretty heated. I could hear them a few houses away. And I just felt the need to begin praying for them. And I'm like praying like, God, am I supposed to like walk in their driveway? That's weird. I'm not doing that. And as I get closer, I begin praying. And God just kind of surfaces in my spirit. Matthew 5, he teaches us that we are a city on a hill. He talks about us being a light to the world around us. And I'm like praying, like, hey, good God, this makes sense. Like, would you allow me to be light in a dark world? Now, I don't know these people. These people don't know me, and they have no earthly idea that I've been praying for them. But for a couple weeks now, I've been walking by their house and praying, hey, God, would you just provide peace over their household? God, would you just let them know that you are near and present, and if they need something, they should just say something. As I'm walking by, I'm praying for these random strangers that I had never had a desire to pray for. I still to this day don't know them. But it all has happened for a stupid handstand. And so this is the heart behind the series. Is there something in your life you've always wanted to try, but you've never been willing to do it? A lot of you already have things firing off in your brain. Just hang with me for a second. I want you to take the challenge and try something. Over the next 6 weeks, I want you to try it. Whatever it is, I want you to try. But I want you to know this first and foremost, that just as soon as you try to do something you've never done before, opposition will face you oh so quickly. They say that motivation has a shelf life, 24 hours. Within 24 hours, so by 11:20 tomorrow, you'll be like, that was the dumbest idea I've ever had in my life. What was I thinking? Like, no way I'm doing that. It will happen. But more opposition will come faster than just your motivation. I believe something will begin to argue with you in your mind. Something will begin to speak to you in your heart. Maybe even silencing your desire or justifying why you can't or why you shouldn't. You can't afford that. You'll never be able to accomplish that. You don't have the time for this. Other things are too important. All these things will start happening. And I just want you to know this morning, all I'm asking you to do is to fight against that. In the words of a Disney movie, Silencio Bruno. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. There's this character who, when he faced something that was causing him fear, his buddy says, tell the other you in your mind to be quiet. And I would tell you the same thing. In the next 24 hours, something will speak against what you want to do, and you would tell yourself, silence. I need to try this. Because here's what I believe. And I believe this because I've experienced it. And trying something that was not a big deal, not Jesus related at all, and trying something that was slightly healthy, and trying something that was slightly a challenge, and trying something new I've never done before, it has become deeply spiritual. It has opened my eyes to space and places that I did not know existed. It's created space for God to move and speak in ways I didn't think he could. And a stupid handstand has allowed me the opportunity to engage and pray for my family, my kids, and even my neighbors in a way that did not exist a little over 2 months ago. All because I tried. So I'm going to ask you this question. Is there anything in your life that you've always wanted to try, but you've just been too afraid to do it? The risk was too great. The cost was too great. The embarrassment, the shame, the guilt was too great. I want to ask you, would you be willing to honor our value here at LifeBridge? We value practice, not perfection. Would you just, in your try, practice it? I want to give us something each week that we can walk away with, that we could all do. Like, this is like, hey, everyone in here is like, I've always wanted to try to do this. You know, like I always wanted to try to play the harmonica or blow a bubble. You know, I don't know, pick your thing. I've always been able to try to paint, art, play a guitar, whatever. You fill in the blank, and I want you to go do that. And we want to support you in that, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. But I also want us to collectively as a church walk away with something that's biblical, that like Jesus models, that we as Christ followers are supposed to try. And so I'm going to read a lot of scripture really quickly so that I don't keep you here forever. But I want you to hang with me as we walk through Jesus, like showing his disciples something that is absolutely incredible. In John chapter 1, starting in verse 35, it says this: the following day, John, which is John the Baptist, was again standing with two of his disciples. As Jesus walked by, John looked at him and declared, "Look, there's the Lamb of God." When John's two disciples heard this, they followed Jesus. Could you imagine for a moment, like you had disciples, like people who followed you, and all of a sudden they saw somebody else, like, Jesus, we're going to go follow that guy? That's what happens. These guys see Jesus, and they're like, we're going to follow him now. So Jesus looks around and saw them following him. "What do you want?" he asked them. They replied, "Rabbi," which is teacher, "where are you staying?" Like they're intrigued by this guy so much so that like, hey, I don't know what it is about you, but I'm coming with you. Like I don't know like who you are yet, but I've got this deep feeling in me that there's something different about you, and I'm coming with you. Where are you staying? Jesus replies, "Come and see." It was about 4:00 in the afternoon when they went with him to a place where he was staying, and they remained with him the rest of the day. Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, was one of these men who heard what John said and then followed Jesus. Andrew went to find his brother Simon and told him, "We have found the Messiah." Then Andrew brought Simon to meet Jesus. Looking intently at Simon, Jesus says, "Your name is Simon, son of John, but you will be called Cephas," which means Peter. The next day, Jesus decided to go to Galilee. He found Philip and said, "Come, follow me." It's the second time he said this. Philip was from Bethsaida, Andrew and Peter's hometown. Verse 45, Philip went to look for Nathanael and told him, listen to this. This is where I'm going to hang out for a minute. "We have found the very person Moses and the prophets wrote about. His name is Jesus, the son of Joseph from Nazareth." "Nazareth?" exclaimed Nathanael. "Can anything good come from Nazareth?" "Come and see for yourself," Philip replied. As they approached, Jesus says, "Now here's a genuine son of Israel, a man of complete integrity." "How do you know about me?" Nathanael asked. Jesus replied, "I could see you under the fig tree before Philip found you." Then Nathanael exclaimed, "Rabbi, you are the Son of God, the King of Israel." Jesus asked him, "Do you believe this just because I told you that I'd seen you under the fig tree?" He says, "You will see greater things than this." Then he said, "I tell you the truth. You will all see heaven open and the angels of God going up and down on the Son of Man, the one who is the stairway between heaven and earth." Jesus makes a claim in this last part that's very bold to this people, that he is the stairway. He is the access point to heaven. But more importantly, and even throughout this whole topic, we see a phrase used 3 times. And the phrase that we see 3 times is very simple. It's "come and see," or "come, follow me." It's this invitation to be a part of who I am and what I'm doing. Jesus is offering, hey, just come follow me. When the guys are inviting somebody else, they're like, come and see for yourself. Come see this guy who literally knows me, who has seen me, and I don't even know him, but I'm willing to give my life and follow him. This experience was so like earth-shaking to them. This meeting Jesus was so monumental. They're like, I'm going to leave everything and go follow Jesus. And it all came with an invitation. Just come follow me. Come and see for yourself. For many of us, an invitation probably changed your life. There's a time in your world where maybe Jesus was presented to you in a way that it was like, man, like I've got to follow him. I've got to surrender my life to him. And you decide to follow him. But there's more than just those invitations. Like invitations create space for our life to change. I remember inviting Jamie, like, hey, let's go out to eat one night. Like that invitation changed my life, I remember getting down on a knee and asking her a question. It was an invitation. Will you spend the rest of your life with me? It changed my life forever. Invitations create space like for our worlds to collide. In this situation, like more than anything, these guys invite, hey, come and see who Jesus is. And that invitation set them on a path that their world was forever different. But they all had to try. They didn't know what they were getting into. They didn't know how hard or complicated it was going to be, but they're like, you know what? This guy is different. I'm going with him. I'm going to let go of my job and the finances, and I'm not encouraging you to quit your job today. Like, that's not it. But they all decided to let go and follow him. And it was all an effort of try. I'd never done this before. I don't know this man, never seen this man. It's his first time, but I'm willing to try and learn and live and ask questions and watch. And their life was forever changed, all because of an invitation. Just the question is for you, like how often do you offer invitations? Let's not get super spiritual real quick. Like, how often do you invite people to come over and have dinner? Like, how often do you invite people into maybe problems in your world? Maybe you have a trusted friend. How often do you invite them into like, hey, I'm struggling. Could you help me? Could you speak into this? Like, what I realized at 2:30 or 3 o'clock early that one morning I began writing is that like the word try actually had a lot more impact than just the handstand. There's a lot of areas in my life, Chris, that you just kind of stopped trying. You just kind of fell into rhythm. Like, this is just what you do. You get up, you get ready, you brush your teeth, you put your clothes on, you go to work. TMI for some of you, sorry. You just do this, and you come home and you feed your kids, you do some homework, watch a show, you go to bed, and you do it again. Rinse, repeat. Where are you trying, Chris? Where are you trying to do things that are maybe difficult or different or something you've never done before? Where are you trying to invite people into a space or a place maybe you need, or maybe you're supposed to just bring them in to allow your worlds to intersect? The question from what we see in this scripture is that we're all supposed to be a people who are inviting people in. Like, Jesus invited us into his world, and then he invited us into his family body he did on the cross for us. And we're to imitate him. We're to be a people who invite, hey, come along with me. It doesn't mean you're like, come follow Jesus with me, because sometimes like, that's a little first, that's a big step. I'm not Jesus. But you might invite them into your world. And when as they come into your world, they see, oh, you go to church. Oh, yeah. Oh, you read your Bible. Oh, yeah. Do you really believe that? Yeah. The invitation creates space for conversation, for your worlds to collide, and Jesus meets you in those. He does something in those. So just quick questions, really quick for you. Who's following you? Like, if you're going to invite somebody, it's really just do a quick scan of your mind. Like, who follows me? By structure of work or the world, sometimes you have employees. They're following you. They do. If you're a teacher, you have kids. If you're a parent, you have children. Like, there's just a kind of a natural hierarchy in our world where there's, like, a lot of times everybody has somebody following them just because you have to. Make a quick note of who those people are. And then follow up with the next question, who are you leading? Now, that's way different. They're following you because you have to, but leading is intentional. Jesus was very intentional. He never did anything by, like, coincidence. Nothing by, oh, well, let's just see how this plays out. He's very intentional. If you're going to follow me, you're going to learn to be like me. I'm going to teach you how to do what I do. Who follows you? Who could God be asking you to lead, to actually be accountable to? Like, I'm going to pour into you. I'm going to invest my time and my energy into you. When you do this, it creates space. It reroutes your priorities. You no longer can do that because now you got to do this. All because you chose to try an invitation. All right, so the series, and then we'll end. My hope is that you will all try something. And this is not like a series where I'm gonna be like, you didn't try something? No one's gonna do that. But I do want to start a movement. What's happened in me is pretty crazy. Like, we were actually leading a team of volunteers this last week, and like, God keeps showing me how he's working in this. I was challenging our volunteers to, like, hey, I want you to try something. Like, what is something God's either put on your heart, or what is something you just wanted to try and you never have? And one guy was like, I've always wanted to try to play the guitar. Well, it was like crazy how God began to work, because as he's talking about what he wants to try, like sitting right in front of me, and I was like getting deeply emotional because it was so like, are you serious, God? Like right in front of me in this meeting, there was a gentleman who approached me a few weeks prior to this. He's like, hey, I can play an instrument. I can play the guitar. Do you know anybody who like wants to learn? I would love to teach somebody how to play. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sure I'll find somebody. Like, he just randomly spoke to me that he could do it. And I'm like, I'm sure there's someone in this world that I live in that wants to, but I'm like, we said it and it was like, it was gone until that moment where one guy on our team saying, I want to learn, and facing me is this guy who wants to teach, and like God orchestrated a moment where I'm like, hey, I'm connecting these two guys. Like, this is how this has happened every single time. Every time someone's mentioned a try, it's like opened up a world that was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know this existed. I want you to try. And so we've created a way for you to let us know. There is a QR code. Yeah, there we go. There's a website, lifebridgecenter.com/try. Well, it'll have some more information about what we're doing. This QR code will give you access to a Google form that you can fill out. Now, here's the thing. I want this to be a movement. I want this to go farther than just a Sunday morning. If you commit to try something and you follow up with us about how you're doing, we want to give you a shirt. So this is the shirt. It says, why not just try? This shirt kind of functions a little bit like the tattoo that I want one day. People ask, what are you trying? Like, try what? It's a good, try, I don't know, skydiving. You pick what you want to try. And we're stepping out. We're trying something we never tried before. It's a conversation with your neighbor, a friend, a coworker, I don't care. Whoever you want to. It just helps create that. You also can wear it. It's long sleeve. It'll be cold in a couple months, hopefully, maybe by January. But we want to do this journey with you. Like we want to share your progress, your story. We want people to try something, and when we try it and our world opens up, when we meet people we've never met before, when we do something we've never done before, we see people that we've never seen before, and God starts to move within it. It's life-changing. It's eye-opening. And I believe that if we were to try this 6 weeks from now, we will all be different. Our church will be different, and our church impacts this community. It'll be different. So the question I want to leave you with is, what will you try? What is it? It doesn't have to be like spiritual. It doesn't have to be like, well, I'm going to, and I don't want to say anything because I don't want to, if you're like, that's what I want to do, I don't want to make judgment on that, but it can be ride a unicycle. It could be go to church 6 weeks in a row. I don't know. It can be whatever you want it to be. But I promise you this, if you'll just try it, if you'll just commit to it, it'll change your life. And more importantly, I believe Jesus will show up. So right now, as we walk through, some of you are like, yes, I've got this. Some of you are like, I don't know about this. Some of you are going to face immediate confrontation in your mind, opposition. Here's what I want to ask you. I'm going to pray first and second. I'm going to have a prayer team up front. If there's something in you that's opposing, like, no, I cannot do that. I want to, but I will not. Like, would you just come and let someone pray with you? If you're struggling with maybe what to do or why to do it, or even if it's possible or how to do it, would you just come tell somebody? It's amazing when we involve someone. It's impossible to try something without it affecting someone around you or impacting someone around you. You can't try. I tried to do the handstand on my own, and I about broke my neck. I needed help. And now I've got like a core of people around me like, hey, how are you doing? Are you getting better? Have you done this? I mean, like, I am on the verge. It's almost there. But it took a whole bunch of people around me. This morning, would you let somebody in? Maybe this prayer team will meet you where you are. They'll encourage you. They'll just listen to you, whatever it is. Maybe you just need prayer about anything. They're here. What are you going to try? Let us know. I believe in 6 weeks we'll all be different for it. Let me pray. Jesus, thanks for the day. Thanks for the truth of your word. That Jesus, a simple invitation to come and see, not only changed 12 men's world, but it actually influenced our world. That today, Jesus, we are still learning what it means to follow you, to try and put you first in all things, to try and surrender our will, want, and desires for your will. God, I pray that as we explore trying, would you help us see the power in a simple invitation. That maybe inviting someone to church or maybe inviting someone for coffee or dinner, it could be creating space for you to move in miraculous ways, to do things we never dreamed possible. But even more importantly, God, as we attempt to try something we've never done before, that by us simply trying, that it would open up our world. It'd create space for us to meet people that maybe we didn't know, have conversations that we've been longing to have, to talk with our spouse or our kids or our family in ways that we didn't know possible. God, would you give us the courage to try, to step out in faith and watch you do what only you can do, change our life forever. Jesus, we love you. It's in our prayer. Amen. Thanks for being here. Love you guys. You're dismissed.